So we're going to talk about Danny Ainge. And that time he turned the Celtics from bums into champions in only 5 seasons. It all starts with Paul Pierce in 1998. Paul Pierce became an all-star and he was doing good things with Antoine Walker. 20 points per game for both of them. Pierce with 26 points per game, 7 rebounds and 4 assists. They have starters like Tony Delk and Antoine Walker, but they've just been swept in the second round. They are 2 games over 500, so they've got to change something, and that's why we hire Danny Ainge. Former player, Red Auerbach, decides, yeah, this is the guy we need, so the Celtics go ahead and hire him. Let's see what he can do. Now, before we get into what he did, let's talk about what you would do. If you had this team with 2 all-stars, 2 young all-stars in their 20s, and this roster, what are you doing? How are you turning these guys into champions in only 5 seasons? What would you do? So what Ainge does is he trades this guy Sangalia because he's only draft rights. Sacramento is looking for, I guess, him, and they're willing to trade 2 second-round picks for this season and then again in 2 seasons. I'm not sure why they trade 1 second-round pick for 2 second-round picks. Maybe they saw something in him, but obviously he didn't become anything. But thank you, Sacramento. And so now we can go to the 2003 draft where we have 3 draft picks, the 16th, the 20th, and the 56th. So Troy Bell is who they take with the 16th pick, Dante Jones with the 20th, and Brandon Hunter with the 56th pick, and he's the one from Sacramento. It looks like Boston actually wanted a different pick from that draft because they actually traded the 16th and 20th pick for the 13th pick, Marcus Banks, and they also got Kendrick Perkins, maybe just as like as a mistake. In free agency, who do we get? Solid NBA role player Mike James. He's gonna do something, I guess. Also traded J.R. Bremer, Bruno Sundov, and a 2005 second for Jermaine James, who's a former All-Star and a former All-Defensive player. Let's see what these 2 can do. Also, that 05 pick is Ryan Gomez, and that's important for later. Also, Antoine Walker's gotta go, as does Tony Delk. So 2 of our starters are going to Dallas. Dallas is offering Rafe LaFrentz, Chris Mills, Jiri Welsh, and a 2004 first-round pick. Personally, I think this is actually a bad trade, like actually really bad, because Antoine Walker's an all-star, and Dallas is offering one solid player and then a bunch of bums for 2 starters, including 1 all-star. That's an interesting trade, but it worked out apparently. But yeah, the most important part of this is that for Troy Bell and Dante Jones, our 2 first-round picks, we got the 27th pick, Kendrick Perkins, who's going to be important in our championships. And that makes our 2004 roster look like this. Paul Pierce and Kendrick Perkins are our only 2 championship players so far. Let's see where we go from here. Like, there's no way they expect this team to be better, right? Anyway, Paul Pierce is acting like an all-star again. Jiri Welsh is playing better than expected. Jermaine Jones is playing worse. 12-13 record. So I guess we're around 500, which is the same as last season. So I guess it was good to trade Antoine Walker. But let's see what other moves we can make at this point into the season at 12-13 in the middle of the East. So we're going to trade Kendrick Brown, Eric Williams, and Tony Batty, some of our starters and key players. Let's see what we can get for key players. So Ricky Davis, who's the 2nd leading scorer on the Cavaliers, but I guess they don't need him because they've got LeBron now. Also Chris Mim, Michael Stewart, and a 2005 second round. And remember, I said it was going to be important. That's the pick that becomes Ricky Gomez, the one we just traded away. So that's a good pick. So we traded away a 20-point per game scorer. Now at this point now we've got a 15-point per game scorer in return, but maybe they'll be better because this guy is suited to being a second guy instead of Walker, who's another all-star. But let's see what happens. So instead of becoming like better, the coach resigns. Jim O'Brien, after like 4 seasons and with a 139-119 record and 13-13 in the playoffs, he resigns because Danny Ainge keeps switching up the team, keeps changing things, and he's had enough. So he just resigns and he ends up in Philly. The new interim head coach is one of the assistant coaches, John Carroll. Let's see if maybe we can improve the season from here. Who knows? Let's see what happens. Okay, so there's another trade. So Rasheed Wallace wants to go to the Pistons. The Pistons want him from Atlanta. And Boston's like, yeah, let's get in on that. We trade Mike James, who we just signed, and Chris Mills, who we just traded for. He never played a game for us. For Chucky Atkins and Lindsey Hunter. And we get a 2004 first round pick, and he's going to be a champion for us. So just like that, we get another champion out of nowhere from the Rasheed Wallace trade. And to finish the season, this is our team and our record. We got swept in the first round. Paul Pierce was an all-star again. We had some players play better like Atkins and people play worse like Jermaine Jones. 36 and 46. 8 more losses than last season. For losing an all-star, that's okay. And it's just the first season, and guys like Atkins just joined. Maybe we can improve from here. This is okay. New coach, we just signed Doc Rivers, who used to be the coach of the Magic. So maybe we'll do all right. The interim head coach was a flop, but now we have a real coach. 04 draft, we have the 15th, 24th, 25th, and 40th pick. We have consecutive picks, so it's probably a good idea to trade some. We don't need 4 rookies on the team. Let's see what happens. Al Jefferson, Delonte West, Tony Allen, and Justin Reed. Surely he's going to trade someone. We don't need 4 rookies. A trade. Let's see. Chucky Atkins, Jermaine Jones, and Chris Mim for Rick Fox, Gary Payton, and the 06 first round pick. Okay, we're getting some vets. Are we going to trade those rookies? Anyway, that's good. We get Gary Payton, and he's still producing. He's not bad. But we lost Chucky Atkins, who was playing well for us. So the Lakers pick is a championship pick. So we get a champion from this one. So let's trace it. Tony Delk and Antoine Walker. Thank you, Antoine. Gave us Chris Mills, who gave us, with Mike James, gave us Chucky Atkins. And then we got Jermaine Jones and Chris Mim from the J.R. Bremer Sandov trade. And now we have the 06 first round pick, which is nice. We don't know who he is yet, but we have the 06 pick as well. So we have another champion just like that out of nowhere. In free agency, we get Dana Barros, who was literally unsigned last year, and Tom Gugliotta, who's literally getting worse because he's older now. Interesting. One of our picks was a champion, Tony Allen. We got him from the Antoine Walker trade as well. So thank you, Antoine. The 05 Celtics, here they are. You see 3 players now in only 2 years. We've got 2 championship players added and Paul Pierce still. Let's see what this team can do. 05. Okay, 24 and 25. Still a 500 team. Paul Pierce is still an all-star. Gary Payton has lowered his production. Because Ricky Davis is still the same. Rafe LaFrance has taken an upturn, so our team is alright. We're just losing a lot. In fact, Al Jefferson is literally basically an all-rookie player. He's playing as one of the best rookies in the league. Let's see if he can keep that up. Also, Kendrick Perkins is still a bum, but maybe it'll change. It looks like we're trading someone. Walter McCarthy, one of our guys from 03. What can we do with him? Trading him for a second round pick in 2 years. Interesting. I don't know what we're going to do with that, but okay. Also, trading a couple of picks, including one of our champions. So, are we going to get him back? What's that? Gary Payton is being traded with Tom Gugliotta, who we signed. Michael Stewart, who never played a game for us. For Antoine Walker, we're getting him back? Huh? So, we're trading away an all-star for an all-star, who we already had before, and one of our champions. So, we traded Antoine Walker for Chris Mills and Mike James, for Chucky Atkins, Jermaine Jones, and them, which came from the Bremer trade, for the 2006 first round pick, and we're trading that pick for Antoine Walker, who we traded away already. Yeah, basically, so the East was trash in the playoffs this year, so even though they were trash, the Celtics were still gonna make the playoffs, it looked like. So for business reasons, our king Danny Ainge decided, yeah, let's bring back Walker. He'll bring back some ticket sales, and we'll have a hero that people can cheer for. He knew they weren't going to do anything that season. This was strictly a business decision for some money, ticket sales. So Jerry Welsh is getting traded as well for a first round pick as well. So we're really all in on young dudes because we're trading away our players for picks. And also, this is crazy. We just traded away Gary Payton. We're getting Gary Payton back 2 games after we lost him for Antoine Walker, which means technically Antoine Walker was traded for Tom Gugliotta at 1 point per game, Michael Stewart, who never played a game for us, and a 2006 first round pick. And because in 2008 he's going to be on our team, he's coming back to us too. So we traded Antoine Walker for basically 1 point per game and someone who didn't even play for us. Crazy. But anyway, yeah, Gary Payton's back. Let's see what he can do in the second half of the season. And Gary Payton plays the same. Antoine Walker was worse off, so he's no longer a 20 point per game scorer. Rafe LaFrance, he improved, all right. And Al Jefferson, yeah, was actually all rookie. We lost in Game 7 of the first round, so we almost improved this season. And 9 more wins, over 500. So this is a solid team now. What will we do from here? This is an okay team. All right, now it's time for the 05 draft. We have the 18th pick, 50th pick, and 53rd. We take Gerald Green, Ryan Gomez, and Orion Green from Sacramento. Yeah, I guess solid picks. Gerald Green, we know who he is, the one finger guy. Ryan Gomez, who we traded away and brought back. Let's see what we can do with them. Before that, the biggest trade ever at the time. It's even known as the Antoine Walker trade. So we trade away Antoine Walker. Miami's involved, Memphis is involved, Utah's involved, New Orleans is involved. What do we get? Some guy called Albert, just his draft rights. Quintel Woods, 320. A 2006 second round draft pick from Miami, a 2008 second round draft pick from Miami, and Curtis Borchardt from Utah, who's also a low production player. Okay, so that was a big trade. We got nobody for it. In free agency, we get the Red Mamba, okay, and we'll bind them. So things are looking up. Let's see what happens next. We trade away that second round pick from Miami for Dan Censored. Let's see what we do with him as well. So Red Mamba was signed 5-year, $15 million just because he's a solid player, 6 points per game. And this is a 2006 team. Now we have 4 championship players. As you can see, it's like it's building up. It's happening. We're going to do it. All right, and now we're 17 and 25, middle of the season. Looks like Paul Pierce is going to be an all-star again. Some players have improved and gone worse. All of our improved players, including Ricky Davis at 25 and 5, we're going to trade them. And wow, this is the big trade. So moving a lot of pieces that we've procured in different ways. To Minnesota for Wally Zerbiak, who's the same as Ricky Davis. So I'm not sure we're trading him. Maybe he wants money or something, but he's got to go. The Candyman, Oliver Candy, he's alright, I guess. Dwayne Jones, and 2009 first rounder. So missed the playoffs, 33 and 49. That is 12 more losses than last season. Pierce is an all-star, and Ryan Gomez is all rookie. Okay, that's interesting. So 2006 draft, we have the 7th pick. Let's see what we can do with this one. You get Randy Foye. Okay, so what can we do with Randy Foye? I don't think we'll keep him. Okay, so we trade away next year's first round pick for this year, Brian Grant, and the 21st pick from the Lakers. In fact, to Phoenix, that is. But that is our pick that we gave for Antoine Walker. And like I said, we were going to get it back. That's because that's a championship pick. And in fact, the player who that pick comes from came from Phoenix on draft day. That player who got picked 21st is Rajon Rondo. So Tony Delk in 2003, along with Antoine Walker, got traded for Jerry Welsh, who got traded for this 2007 pick, and that pick was traded for Rajon Rondo. So crazy. Then we trade away our other 2007 pick for another champion, Leon Powell, number 0, for the 49th pick. So in one draft day trade, or in 2 trades in one day, we got 2 championship players who are going to help us win a championship. Also on draft day, we traded Dan Censored, the 7th pick, and Rafe LaFrance for Theo Ratcliffe, Sebastian Telfair, and an 08 second rounder. And the last thing we do in 2006, in free agency, we signed Ray Allen. No, that's Alan Ray. And he was undrafted and he's trying to prove himself. Let's see what he can do. And Dwayne Jones, who gave us a solid 1 point and 2 rebounds per game, we're trading him to Cleveland for Luke Jackson, who never plays, and some cash. Let's go. And he's a 07 team. So on the 07 team, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championship teammates. Okay, we're getting there. 07, this is a year before the championship. Let's see what this team 1 year before the championship can do. Paul Pierce gets injured. Before Paul Pierce gets injured, we go 10 and 24. So with Paul Pierce, we're already a bad team. Let's see where we go from here, though. 23 and 50 without Paul Pierce, and we're about to make a move because we need anything. Rajon Rondo's playing like an all-rookie. So, of course, he is. Tony Allen is taking that jump. Gerald Green is taking that jump. And Wally Szczerbiak has gotten worse. So has Ryan Gomez. Actually, he's gotten better. 12 points per game. Okay. We're getting better with our young players. So it was a good decision not to trade them away. So Danny Ainge saw something in those young players and he knew it would take a while, so he let them stay instead of trading them away. We also signed Kevin Pinckney because we already had a successful undrafted guy in Alan Ray who's doing 6, 2, and 1. So we get Kevin Pinckney who's doing 6 as well. So that's really an improvement for us. Good for them. Good for some undrafted guys. Anyway, to end the season, we're last in the East, second last in the entire NBA, because Paul Pierce was mostly injured. We're 24 and 56. After this season, Paul Pierce requests to leave the team. He requests to be traded, understandably, because the team's trash. So around the draft time, everyone's like, okay, they're going to trade Paul Pierce at this time, probably, because he's demanded a trade. You'll probably trade him on draft day, because it's Danny Ainge. Let's see what we do with our picks. So we draft Jeff Green and Gabe Pruitt. Also, Gabe Pruitt's on the championship team, so good for him. He was the 32nd pick. Jeff Green's going to get traded. He's going to be traded with Paul Pierce, right? This is expected, the 5th pick. Oh, okay, this is different. Jeff Green, Wally Szczerbiak, Delonte West, and an 08 second rounder for Ray Allen, not Alan Ray. And the 35th pick, Glenn Davis, all coming from Seattle. Ray Allen, 26 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and the 35th pick, Glenn Davis, the biggest baby. So let's recap. How on earth did we get here? So Kendrick Brown, Eric Williams, and Tony Barry get traded for Ricky Davis because Ricky Davis doesn't need LeBron anymore. Troy Bell and Dante Jones get traded for Marcus Banks and Kendrick Perkins, if you remember. Antoine Walker gets traded in 2006 for a second round pick and other things as well. All of that gets traded for Wally Szczerbiak, right? And Delonte West comes from the 2003 trade where we got where we lost Tony Delk and Antoine Walker. So for an all-star and a big baby, we traded Antoine Walker. So you could say that Antoine Walker plus a bunch of stuff later, we traded him, a 2-time all-star, for an 8-time all-star, 26 points per game scorer, and the biggest baby in the NBA. I think that's an amazing trade, at least for the Celtics. Oh yeah, and then 2 nights later, even Kevin Garnett wants in on this, and he has a big trade. He has a big trade that gets him. So we'll start from the beginning because this is long. Antoine Walker got traded in 2006 for that 2006 second round pick, which we traded for Dan Sensed. Dan Sensed and Randy Foye, who we drafted, got traded with Rafe LaFrance, who we got in 2003 from the Tony Delk Antoine Walker trade. So that's twice now for Antoine. Those guys were traded for Sebastian Telfair and Theo Ratcliffe. We traded Kendrick Brown and Eric Williams and Tony Batty for Ryan Gomez. We didn't expect him to be good because it was a second round pick, but he was good for us. So he's also involved in the KG trade. Also, Kendrick Brown, Eric Williams, and Tony Batty also got us Ricky Davis. They are traded. He's traded, as well as Troy Bell and Dante Jones trade partner Marcus Banks, who's from the Kendrick Perkins trade, remember? Yeah, so Marcus Banks included in that. Antoine Walker, again in '06, was also traded for that '08 second rounder, which became Nikola Pekovic. And they were all traded for that pick that became Johnny Flynn. So then Kevin Garnett basically came from Antoine Walker as well. A 10-time All-Star coming from a 2-time All-Star. 23 points per game scorer, 13 rebounds. We got him for Antoine Walker. To finish up the '07 offseason, we signed Eddie House, Scott Pollard, and James Posey. These guys are all solid players in their own right. Dante Jones as well, but he got waived before the season started. Pollard to 1.5 mil for 1 year. Same with Eddie House, and James Posey to 3.5 for 1 year. So here's the 2008 team. Let's see how we do a little bit more into the season. 44-12 and first in the East. Remember, we were just last in the East. We have 3 All-Stars. That's the 3 big guys. Everyone's a champion. Rajon Rondo took a big step, obviously. Tony Allen took a big step, obviously. Kendrick Perkins finally took a step, and that's why he's one of our important players. Leon Powell also took a step, so we have a good team now. And some mid-season signings just to make sure our team definitely makes it. We get PJ Brown, a 15-year vet and ex-all-defensive first-team player, and Sam Cassell, also a veteran with a long contract and lots of accolades. These 2 are super important to us, but let's see how they do, and I'll explain why. So PJ Brown plays better, and that's because in the playoffs he actually becomes one of the most important players on the court, because in game 7 of one series, I think he has 10 and 5, and that wills his team to win the game, and he's also big in the first game of the playoffs. So that's actually a good pickup. And Sam Cassell as well, his stats went down, but he still provided points and scoring, so he's important, and defense obviously. And that's it. That's the entire 2008 NBA champion Boston Celtics. 66-16, 42 more wins than last season in only 12 draft picks, 18 trades, and 14 free agency signees. My king Danny Ainge changed them from bums into champions. And before we finish this video, let's just give a quick thanks to our man Antoine Walker. He sacrificed so much being traded by the Celtics, but what did I get him? A 2006 championship. So good for him as well. Let's have a clap for him, and let's finish there.